So, at what age then did you start to question, who your parents could be,
Well, I wouldn't say
father
I
was?
started to question it, but I said around like 7, maybe 6. And I think it started at 6. And my mom was just telling me that my father wasn't my father. But as a kid, I really didn't look too much into it because
Father was, and for the case not to go how I was planning it, I really thought it was going to go different than.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs.
Rymir Satterthwaite was rushed to the hospital, and just like that, everything stopped. Cameras cut off, headlines froze, and the buzz around him took a dark, unexpected turn. This wasn't just another spicy update in some celebrity beef. This was a 31-year-old man collapsing under pressure from a battle that's been eating away at him for nearly half his life.
I was a kid and I honestly didn't know what she was talking about. But, I did hear her, as I got older, 7, 8, 9, 10, and she continued with the same story. My mom wasn't crazy. She gave us everything. She would give if you say give your life up for your kids right now, it wouldn't take a second for her to give her life up. She was just a lovely person, like everyone who knew my mom.
And the timing? Way too suspicious. Just as the lawsuit against Jay-Z was heating up again, with a legal team going after one of the most powerful names in music, boom, Rymir ends up in a hospital bed, silent and drained. People are whispering. Was it stress? A breakdown from the endless back and forth over his identity? Or is something else creeping in behind the curtains? Something darker?
Why would any testimony about what happened leading up to it need to be covered under a non-disclosure agreement if there wasn't foul play?
Now, mind you, September 11th happened a week later. 9/11 happened a week later. Do you think that took away from it?
Once again.
Because let's be real, anyone who's followed this story knows Rymir's not out here chasing clout or bags. He's fighting for his name. From day one, he stood firm, saying his mother, Wanda, had a short relationship with Sean Carter back in 1992.
Apartment building, and they did what they did in there. Talked a little bit, had a good time party, and I guess had sex. I can't fully talk as my mom because I'm not my mom. I'm just telling you guys what she told me. And I honestly just believe it. It's just no doubt in my mind.
When she was just 16. And guess what? The timeline makes sense. The documents line up. But every time Rymir pushed for answers, he hit a brick wall. No compassion, no truth. Just sealed court files, slick legal maneuvers, and what his team keeps calling fraudulent interference. And now, right when he's trying once again to push Jay-Z into taking a DNA test, boom, he ends up in the ER. It's the most critical point in his entire journey, and he's out of the game, at least for now. Coincidence? Or something more serious going down behind closed doors? Rymir's body gave out. Or did someone make it give out? That's where things start getting real sketchy, real fast. A source close to Dr. Lily Coley, woman who stepped up as Rymir's legal guardian after his mom passed, said things got weird right after they refiled the lawsuit in New Jersey. We're talking men tailing them, sketchy unmarked cars lurking outside, and strangers hanging around their house like they were being watched. And it didn't stop there. They got hit with creepy late-night phone calls. Not your usual prank stuff, but the kind of shady threats you only see in political thrillers. This wasn't just a legal battle anymore. It was starting to feel like a full-on takedown. Coley said it felt like a dark cloud was hanging over them, and both she and Rymir were scared. One insider even claimed that someone tied to Rock Nation slipped up and said Jay-Z was ready to do whatever it takes to shut this thing down. Then out of nowhere, boom, Rymir collapses, rushed to the hospital. And just like that, everything around the case falls silent.
I don't have no felonies. I'm not crazy or none of that. It's like, I just want the truth, and it's so hard to get it from the courts. And seems like Jay-Z don't want to say anything. So, I don't want to see him go down for something that you could have just got taken care of. That's it.
Sure, people might brush this off as paranoia. It's just some spooky cars and random calls. right? But when the streets start talking, they don't stay quiet for long. And lately, the word on the block has been loud. Jay-Z allegedly sent men to confront Rymir, to scare him, pressure him, get him to fold and walk away from the lawsuit. Not with hush money, not with a peaceful deal, but with fear. Now, of course, there's no hard proof, no names, no fingerprints, no receipts. But real intimidation rarely leaves a trail. Sometimes all it takes is a knock at the door and a warning that hits too close to home. But here's the million-dollar question. Why? Why go through all this mess if there's truly nothing to hide? Why not just take the DNA test and end this whole thing with one cheek swab? Instead, Jay-Z's legal team has spent years, literal years, jumping back and forth between Pennsylvania and New Jersey, playing legal hot potato and screaming jurisdiction like it's a magic word. At one point, Jay-Z's own lawyer got caught slipping. She straight up claimed he owned property in New Jersey, then had to walk it back and admit she misspoke. But let's be real, in court, that ain't a harmless little whoopsie. Under New Jersey law, lying in court filings is a big deal, not just some clerical error. And it's stunts like this that have people convinced Jay-Z might be shaking over what a DNA test could actually prove, especially since the timeline of Wanda's pregnancy points to her being underage when she allegedly had relations with him. And that's where things get even heavier. Wanda, the only person who stood by Rymir from day one, she's gone. She passed away in 2019 after spending years begging the courts to listen. Her death didn't just leave Rymir without a parent. It left him without the one woman who risked everything to uncover the truth. There's still no official word on what caused Wanda's death, but friends close to her say those last few months were brutal. She was drained, emotionally and physically, overwhelmed, and above all, scared that her son would never get the answers he deserved.
Never got anything, so why wouldn't I believe my mom? Like, you know, we could have been settled this, and it only takes a conversation and some words, you know. I'm not a hateful guy. I don't hate anyone. I'm not after nobody. I'm not trying to see no one downfall, but this is just some, you know, some things that just went through court, and they just expected me to just sit there and just take what they were saying. I can't do that, because
and the silence around her death, it's only added more fuel to the whispers. People are asking, was it just bad health? Was it stress? Or was it part of a deeper plan? The kind of long-term, behind-the-scenes strategy that only someone with serious money and power could pull off? Word on the street is, before she passed, Wanda had started writing a memoir, raw, unfiltered, something she planned to drop herself. But here's the twist. That manuscript, it's never been found. No one knows if it was finished, hidden, or straight up wiped out. What we do know is this. After Wanda passed, the fight didn't die. It transferred. Rymir took the torch. He became the voice, the fire, the last one standing in a battle that never let up. No statement, no comment, just cold silence. And that silence, it's been loud, especially when questions started flying about threats and intimidation. For a man who built his empire off words and influence, the fact that Jay-Z hasn't said anything to the guy who claims to be his own flesh and blood, that says everything.
I got older and my mom just continued to say the same thing, and she never changed the name. Like, you know, she always was staying with the same name. I'm like, well, Mom, why? Like, as I got to 16, 17, I'm like, Mom, you've been saying this since I was a kid. So it's like, now my mom never lied.
This ain't just legal chess anymore. It feels personal. According to court records, Jay-Z has never reached out to Rymir. No letter, no message, not even a direct denial. Not even when his own lawyer got busted making false claims to stop a judge-ordered DNA test. Now pause. If all this is fake, if the story's bogus, wouldn't it be easy to shut it down? Take the test, clear your name, walk away untouched. But that's not what's happening here. Instead, it's total silence, and that silence is heavy. It means something. Behind that silence stands a legacy. Jay-Z ain't just a music icon anymore. He's a billionaire brand. He's Beyoncé's husband, a father, a mogul, the face of a cultural empire. But if even a piece of these accusations is true, that he fathered a child with a 16-year-old and then used his power to bury it, the fallout would be massive. Not just embarrassing, career-shattering. And let's not forget, he's He's already getting dragged into the Diddy allegations. His clean image is starting to crack. Add a paternity scandal with possible criminal edges, and now we're not just talking legacy, we're talking survival. And the backstory? It's not wild tabloid nonsense. Rymir's mother, Wanda, wasn't chasing fame. She swore under oath that she had a relationship with Carter. She named him as the father before Jay-Z became who he is today. She wasn't bluffing. Even when the courts tried to play dodgeball, tossing the case around with jurisdiction games and age loopholes, Wanda didn't fold. She stood tall, and when her voice was silenced in 2019, that fire didn't die. She passed it to Rymir, who's been fighting ever since, still demanding the truth. Rymir and his mom fought tooth and nail. Every shady appeal, every sealed file, every legal trick meant to keep the truth locked away. They never backed down. But now, with Wanda gone and Rymir lying in a hospital bed, the question hits hard. Who's left to stand up to Jay-Z now? And as the world waits for an update on Rymir's condition, that eerie feeling starts creeping in, like we've seen this before. Because Jay-Z's name, it's floated through the fog of secrets and silence more than once. This ain't the first time dark whispers followed him. Let's rewind to 2001. The music industry was rocked when Aaliyah, just 22 years old, was taken from the world in a fiery plane crash that left more questions than answers. Official reports called it an accident. But let's be honest, has anyone really believed that explanation? The rumors never died. They just morphed, resurfacing with even more bite. Some folks say Aaliyah's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was planned. And at the center of those whispers, a tangled triangle that had the industry buzzing. Aaliyah, Dame Dash, and Jay-Z. Way before her public relationship with Dame Dash, insiders say Jay-Z was making moves, heavy ones. Word is, he was chasing Aaliyah hard. Some even claim he was obsessed, saw something in her that couldn't be bought. She was power, she was raw talent, she was untouchable, and that made her dangerous. And when Dame Dash locked it down and made the relationship official, that didn't sit well, not with Jay. According to ex-Rockefeller insiders, the tension got real. Jealousy, power plays, and resentment started brewing. This wasn't just some love triangle out of a soap opera. These were high-level industry giants, with massive egos, real influence, and millions of dollars in the mix. And then, the crash. Aaliyah's final flight was a private jet, rushed together at the last second. The plane was overloaded, poorly packed, and flown by a pilot who, get this, had no proper clearance and had toxic substances in his system. Total chaos. But even that ain't the most chilling part. A local from the island, Kingsley Russell, later came forward with a claim that shook everyone. He said Aaliyah didn't want to get on that plane. She was uneasy, scared, and had voiced those fears out loud. And allegedly, she was given a pill, a sedative, and was carried unconscious onto the flight. Let that sit with you for a minute. She may not have even walked onto her own final flight. Now, no one is saying Jay-Z directly caused what happened, but the parallels? They're too real to ignore. Aaliyah was at a powerful turning point, making her own moves, taking control of her career, just like Rymir is trying to do now, standing up to a billion-dollar empire, demanding to be heard, and both ended up silenced. One lost her life in the sky, the other's lying in a hospital bed, allegedly after being pressured into silence. It makes you wonder, what happens to people who get too close to the cracks in this empire? The entertainment world's always had skeletons, quiet payouts, NDAs floating like ghosts, whispered warnings behind locked doors. But Jay-Z? He's not just another name in the industry. He owns the game. This is the same man who survived the street wars of the 90s, flipped criminal charges into street cred, turned scandals into billion-dollar branding, and cozied up with presidents and tech billionaires. So when someone like Rymir starts tugging at a thread that could unravel everything from the start, when the name Aaliyah still lingers like a wound never closed, it's not hard to believe that the machine would do whatever it takes to shut it all down. And now, let's talk about Beyoncé. You think she's just sitting this out? Think again. Legal sources close to the situation say there have been quiet efforts behind the scenes, not just from Jay-Z's side, but from the whole Carter-Knowles circle. Private mediation, pressure to settle, strategies to delay or discredit the claims before they ever hit the courtroom. They're moving in silence, but silence doesn't mean innocence. It means they're watching and they're worried. Beyoncé's public image is all about motherhood, empowerment, and justice. She's Queen Bee for a reason. But behind the scenes, it's looking like she might be doing more than standing by her man. Insiders claim she's been deeply involved in Jay-Z's legal strategy, way more than people realize. Word is, she's attended select briefings, approved official statements, and even pushed for aggressive media tactics when Rymir's lawsuit started getting serious attention. And here here's where things get even messier. Just days before Rymir refiled his latest case, Jay-Z's name popped up in another civil lawsuit, this time tied to a wild, disturbing claim involving none other than his longtime friend and fellow mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The accusation? Horrific acts at an after-party back in 2000, the same year Aaliyah died. Same circle, same energy. Coincidence? Maybe. But the timing? Way too convenient, because when pressure starts closing in from all sides, the last thing an empire wants is someone like Rymir pulling on threads that could unravel the entire web. Jay-Z's legal team has fought viciously for over a decade to keep everything locked up. Sealed records, no testimony, and definitely no DNA test. This, despite public records clearly showing connections to New Jersey properties. His lawyers have argued he doesn't live there, even though Pennsylvania courts dropped the case due to an age technicality. And now they say it can't be refiled in Jersey? Come on! This has been one long game of legal ping pong. And every single time Rymir gets close to forcing a truth out, boom, another technicality blocks the path. So who's putting up all these walls? And what exactly are they so scared of? This ain't just about money. This is about protecting something bigger. Image, control, legacy. There are two kinds of power in this world. The kind you earn and the kind you protect. Jay-Z spent years doing both. But when it comes time to protect what you built, that's when you control the story and silence anyone who threatens it. With Wanda gone, Dr. Coley getting older, and now Rymir possibly too weak to fight, the resistance is fading. And that's exactly when the empire hits hardest. If Rymir doesn't make it, or if he's forced to walk away, the lawsuit ends with him, and everything goes back to normal. The story fades, the silence returns, and the power stays untouched. But for over 10 years, Rymir's fight hasn't just been about proving who his father is, it's been about pulling back the curtain on a justice system that seems to fold whenever a billionaire steps into the room. His case files are packed with red flags, sealed documents with no clear reason, flimsy dismissals, and shady property records that, when questioned, were conveniently ignored. One of the most revealing moments? Jay-Z's lawyer stood up in court and flat out lied about where Jay lived. A lie that shut down Rymir's case in New Jersey. When she later admitted she misspoke, it should have been a legal bombshell. But nope, no consequences, no sanctions, just silence. Again, and the case stalled. According to Rymir's legal team, what's hiding behind those sealed records isn't privacy. It's a systematic effort to shut him down before he can even be heard. Judges have suddenly recused themselves in the middle of proceedings. No reason given. Court orders have referenced gag rules that never existed. And even worse, some of the most important filings were stamped confidential, not to protect minors or medical info, but to cover up major courtroom blunders that just happened to favor Jay-Z's side. Legal experts looking through the case timeline have flagged a trail of sketchy behavior. Due dates being quietly extended for one side, punishments handed to Rymir's team with no real explanation, and critical pieces of evidence suddenly sealed away in court archives like they never existed. At every turn, it's the same pattern. The path doesn't hit a dead end because of the law. It hits a wall built to stop him. This has gone way beyond paternity. It's a warning shot to the world. Because if someone like Rymir, who's backed by sworn affidavits, legit documentation, and over a decade of determination can be pushed out of the courtroom and buried under sealed records, then what hope does anyone have against a billionaire with an empire to protect? The line between wealth and justice has never looked this twisted, and now we're watching it play out in real time. This isn't just about legal battles. It's about how money, power, and high-end lawyers can bend the system until fairness doesn't even stand a chance. And the scariest part? This might not be some one-off story. How many others have tried to speak up, only to be silenced, buried under confidential stamps and courtroom games, simply for calling out the wrong name? But not us. Not the ones who never forgot how the industry turned its back on the questions around Aaliyah. Who still wonder what really happened that day in the Bahamas? Who gave the final okay that put her on that plane when she didn't want to go? Because whether it's whispered behind dressing room doors or hidden in sealed court filings, there's a pattern forming. People get close to the truth, and then they vanish. One way or another. We've seen how the system responds when it's threatened, how victims get ignored, how lawsuits vanish into thin air, how silence gets bought with signatures. But with the Diddy scandal opening floodgates across the industry, things are changing. Jay-Z's name doesn't feel so bulletproof anymore. And Rymir? He might be the last one holding a key to a truth that's been buried for years, a truth that Jay-Z's team has spent a decade trying to erase. But as the headlines pile up and the pressure builds, one thing's becoming impossible to deny. The truth always always finds a crack to crawl through. Still, with Rymir now fighting for his life and the shadow of Alia's loss still haunting the culture, the question remains, will we ever learn the full truth? Or will the powers that be manage to lock it away for good? Let us know what you think. Hit the comments and drop your take. Is this just bad timing and coincidence? Or are we finally seeing cracks in the Carter Kingdom? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss what they don't want you to hear. Stay sharp, stay bold, and remember, silence always leaves a trail. See you in the next one.